By 2026, women over 45 are starting new chapters faster than any generation before. Proof that midlife is not an ending, but a powerful reset. Yet many of you feel stuck, caring for family, juggling careers, facing small health shifts, and wondering where your spark went. Welcome to Your Daily Reset. Dr. Victor Leland here again. There's a simple fix that doesn't require a grand overhaul. New hobbies plus clear, bite-sized goals that rebuild energy, confidence, and community. Today, you'll get practical, real-world steps to pick hobbies that lift your mood, set goals that actually stick, and fold them into an already full life. Imagine Maria, 48. She traded weekend scrolling for a pottery class, now sells handmade bowls at the farmer's market and calls it her weekly recharge. Or Tanya, 52. She started a 20-minute walking plan and a short online memoir course. 6 months later, she's fitter, writing weekly, and joined a local book group. These small, consistent moves change their days and their outlook. First, I'll show you 3 hobby pathways: physical, creative, social, with quick starter wins, how to schedule them in 10 30-minute blocks, and a 5-step reset you can use tonight. Choose one thing. Schedule the smallest possible first step. Track 2 wins a week. Tweak and celebrate. No jargon, just doable actions. Stick around. By the end, you'll have a ready 30-day plan tailored for women 45 plus and a first step challenge you can start tonight. Ready to feel recharged? Let's begin. 1. Feeling stuck and unfulfilled after 45. Many women notice a shift in their inner life after 45. The busy rhythms that once defined daily meaning, parenting, career hustle, caretaking, change, leaving a gap that feels like an ache or a vague discontent. Hormonal transitions such as perimenopause can add fatigue, sleep disruption, and mood swings, and that physiological layer often magnifies the sense that something important is missing. Add to that common life transitions, children leaving home, caregiving for aging parents, stalled promotions, or long-held work routines that no longer inspire. And it becomes clearer why feeling stuck is not a personal failing, but a predictable crossroads. Start by naming the specifics of what feels off. Pinpointing the source: loss of purpose, dwindled social connections, diminished creativity, or physical limitations, turns amorphous unease into an actionable problem. Then try a small experiment. Choose one interest that has niggled at you for years, and give it a focused trial. This could mean attending a single community pottery class, taking a beginner's photography walk with a local group, or committing to 3 short walks a week with a neighborhood meetup. Short trials lower risk, conserve energy, and produce quick feedback so you can decide whether to continue, adapt, or move on. Practical steps matter. Break goals into bite-sized actions. Set aside 2 30-minute blocks each week for exploration. Schedule them in your calendar like an appointment, and tell one friend about the plan, so you'll be more likely to follow through. If finances are a concern, look for low-cost options, library-led workshops, community college courses with flexible enrollment, online tutorials, or volunteering that offers skill building and social connection. Real-life examples are simple and relatable. A woman who hadn't painted since college joined a weekly drop-in studio and discovered a social circle as well as renewed creative satisfaction. Another began teaching a skill she loved to a local youth group and found purpose in mentoring. These are not magic fixes, but practical pivots that rebuild momentum. Integration is about blending new pursuits with existing responsibilities without adding pressure. Create micro habits, a 10-minute stretch each morning, Sunday planning to slot 1 hobby session into the week, or a monthly try something new promise. Protect those blocks by communicating boundaries. Let family or colleagues know you're dedicating certain times to yourself. Use journaling to track what energizes you versus what drains you. Over weeks, patterns emerge and choices get clearer. If low mood persists or feels severe, reach out to a healthcare provider or therapist. Addressing sleep, nutrition, and mental health often makes it easier to engage in fresh activities. Choose one small step today and commit to a short trial. Sign up for a single class, join a local group walk, or carve out 3 20-minute creative sessions in your calendar for the next month. Keep expectations modest. The goal is curiosity and momentum, not perfection. Share your plan with a friend, Write down what you hope to learn, and reflect weekly on what shifts. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight to regain a sense of purpose. One small, sustained change can open new doors and remind you who you are beyond old roles. 2. Why new hobbies are essential for midlife recharge. 3. How to choose meaningful goals for 2026. Midlife frequently brings a quieter kind of exhaustion. The excitement that once came easily from work, parenting, or novelty has faded. Routines feel heavy, and free time doesn't automatically refill with purpose. This shift isn't a personal failure. It's a normal life phase where previously reliable sources of identity and stimulation change. New hobbies act as targeted antidotes because they inject novelty, skill building, social contact, and pleasure into a life that may have grown too predictable. They rebuild small, repeatable wins, notes of progress that sharpen mood and increase day-to-day satisfaction. Starting something new rewires daily experience in practical ways. Learning a craft or language forces attention, and that focus reduces rumination. Physical hobbies like brisk walking, dance, or gentle strength training improve sleep and energy, and creative pursuits, pottery, photography, writing, engage both problem-solving and emotional expression. Social hobbies multiply benefits. A gardening group, choir, or community volunteering brings companionship and a sense of belonging that passive leisure rarely provides. Concrete example: signing up for a weekend pottery class can turn 2 hours of curiosity into a monthly gallery of handmade mugs and a new circle of friends. Small, consistent efforts compound, skill accumulates, and confidence follows. Practical obstacles are real: time, money, family obligations. The solution is to choose hobbies that fit into your current life rhythm, rather than demanding a wholesale overhaul. Night classes, short online tutorials, neighborhood meetups, and seasonal commitments make it possible to experiment without guilt. Try one thing for a month and treat it as information gathering. Did it light you up, bore you, or feel doable? That short trial reduces risk and preserves momentum. Above all, permission is part of the work. Allowing curiosity and playfulness back into adult life is itself a meaningful shift. Choosing goals for 2026 starts with clarity about what matters to you now. List 3 life domains that feel most in need of recharge: creative, physical, social, intellectual, or professional. Then pair each domain with a simple outcome and a habit that supports it. For instance, domain, social; outcome, regular connection; habit, join and attend one neighborhood walking group twice a month. That links an aspirational endpoint to a practical, repeatable action. Goals framed this way are less intimidating and more likely to become part of your routine. Aim for goals that balance stretch and realism. A helpful technique is to set one process goal, what you'll do regularly, and one milestone goal, a measurable result. Examples: process, paint for 2 hours every Saturday; milestone, submit 3 pieces to a local show within the year. Another, process, practice Spanish for 15 minutes 5 days a week. Milestone, have a 10-minute conversation with a native speaker by mid-year. These pairings keep focus on daily habits while still moving toward tangible achievements. Anticipate barriers and plan around them. If energy dips in the evening, schedule hobbies for morning or lunchtime. If childcare or caregiving eats weekends, look for micro sessions or swap responsibilities with a friend. Use available structure. Block time on your calendar. Budget a small monthly amount for classes, and choose accessible locations. Accountability boosts follow-through. Tell a friend, join a group, or track your progress in a simple journal or app. Reassess every 2 to 3 months and be willing to pivot. Stopping a hobby that isn't working is progress, not failure. Integrate hobby choices and goals by designing tiny experiments. Commit to 30 days of a habit, then evaluate. Keep expectations modest. Consistent small actions beat sporadic bursts of enthusiasm. Celebrate wins. Finish sketches, a new recipe mastered, a 5-kilometer walk completed, and let them fuel the next goal. Over time, these accumulated experiences reshape identity, from too busy to someone who learns, creates, and connects. Take one practical step today. Pick a domain that feels dry. Choose one small habit you can sustain for a month, and schedule the first session on your calendar. Tell one person about it for accountability. New hobbies and well-chosen goals don't have to be dramatic to be transformative. Steady, joyful progress is enough to recharge the next chapter. 4. Beginner-friendly hobbies that spark joy. Shifts in family roles, work schedules, and energy levels commonly alter daily routines for women over 45. That change can create a sense of emptiness or boredom, but it also opens a window for recharging through beginner-friendly hobbies that fit real life. Many people don't need grand reinventions. They need small, doable activities that spark curiosity and pleasure. Short, regular rituals can rebuild momentum and help brighten ordinary days. One common problem is time and energy. Long classes or expensive gear feel daunting. The solution is simple. Choose hobbies that are low barrier and flexible. For example, container gardening requires only a few pots, potting mix, and a sunny windowsill to start. Herb jars on the kitchen counter give fresh flavor and visible progress without a yard. Another accessible option is smartphone photography. Learning basic composition and light can turn everyday walks into creative outings. You don't need a fancy camera, just the camera you already carry. Practical details matter. If you pick watercolor painting, begin with a small set, a few pans of paint, one brush, and a pad of cold-pressed paper. Short 20-30-minute sessions 3 times a week build confidence faster than occasional long stretches. Online tutorials and local adult education classes offer step-by-step projects. Community centers and libraries often run low-cost workshops, so check their calendars. For knitting, start with a bulky yarn and large needles to see progress quickly. Scarves and simple hats teach basic stitches while delivering immediate, wearable results. YouTube and pattern apps provide free beginner patterns and troubleshooting tips. Some hobbies double as gentle exercise and social connection. Walking groups, Tai Chi in the park, and beginner-level ballroom or line dancing boost mood and joint mobility without high impact. Joining a community choir or a recreational band welcomes beginners and puts the emphasis on fun, not virtuosity. If you prefer quiet, journaling, or adult coloring reduce stress and help process emotions, prompts can be found in books, apps, or free online lists to keep the practice fresh. Real-life examples help picture this. A neighbor starts with a single potted rosemary and ends up swapping cuttings at a monthly coffee date. A colleague joins a weekend beginner pottery class at the community studio, learns hand building, and uses the first imperfect bowl every morning. Someone else begins a short language lesson on an app, then meets a local tandem partner for a weekly chat over tea. These steps are small but compound into new routines and friendships. Integration into daily life is practical and forgiving. Pick one hobby and give it a consistent place in your week, after breakfast, during lunch breaks, or on quiet evenings. Keep a small kit handy so getting started requires no setup. A sketchbook on the nightstand, knitting in the sofa basket, or a watering can by the door. Track tiny wins, a photo album of progress, a jar of jam made from a first batch of fruit, or a list of new words learned. Combine pursuits when possible. Take a walk with a birding app, then sketch a feather you observed. Pair a cooking experiment with a new music playlist to make it ritual. If cost or mobility is a concern, remember there are many free and low-cost entry points. Public libraries lend tools, host workshops, and provide access to online courses. Community centers and nonprofits offer sliding-scale classes and equipment rentals. Online forums and social media groups connect beginners with mentors and gentle accountability. Start with curiosity, not perfection. Take a small step today. Choose one hobby on this list. Set aside 2 20-minute sessions this week and sign up for one free tutorial or local drop-in class. It's not about mastery. It's about permission to enjoy something new. Rediscovering joy begins with a single, simple ritual. 5. Step-by-step plan to integrate new pursuits. Engaging in a new pursuit can boost mood, sharpen the mind, and widen your circle of friends, benefits that many women notice when they deliberately add fresh activities to their lives. Yet the most common obstacles are the same: not enough time, fear of looking foolish, or simply not knowing where to start. These are solvable problems when you treat the change like a project with small, clear steps, rather than a big, vague promise you'll never keep. Start by clarifying why this matters to you. Write down 2 or 3 reasons: joy, stress relief, connection, creativity, and keep them visible. Next, do a brief reality check. List current obligations and pockets of time you can realistically repurpose. Then choose one low-cost, low-commitment way to try the interest. Borrow a book, take a one-session workshop, or join a short online tutorial. Small experiments reduce pressure and give you information fast. If it lights you up, keep going. If not, you've learned without wasting energy. Create micro goals and a simple tracking system. Break the new pursuit into tiny, achievable actions. Read one chapter, sketch for a few minutes, attend one class, or make one phone call to a meetup organizer. Make those steps specific and visible on a calendar. Use rituals to anchor the habit. Always practice right after breakfast, or place your guitar case by the door as a visual cue. Find accountability. A friend who shares your interest, a local group, or a coach can keep momentum steady. Real-life examples help. A woman who wanted to try pottery began by watching introductory videos, then signed up for a single studio session. The fun of that first messy bowl convinced her to join a monthly class and trade tips with fellow learners. To integrate the new pursuit into everyday life, adapt rather than overhaul. Combine activities with existing routines, listen to language lessons during a commute, or pair short craft sessions with a favorite podcast. Make the environment supportive. Clear a small corner for supplies, keep shoes by the door for quick walks, or set an hour on your calendar so it becomes non-negotiable time. Anticipate plateaus and plan for them. Schedule variety, celebrate small wins, and allow breaks without guilt. If energy dips or obligations spike, scale back instead of quitting. Shorter, consistent practice beats irregular marathon sessions. Take one practical step now. Choose a single tiny action you can do this week. A 5-minute search for a local class, a short trial lesson, or a simple sketch, and put it on your calendar. Keep the reasons you wrote at the start nearby and remind yourself that progress is quiet and cumulative. You don't need perfection. You need a plan, kind consistency, and a willingness to try. Go ahead, pick that first small move, and notice how one modest change begins to reshape your days. 6. Life transformation. Women experience hormonal shifts, changing family roles, and long-accumulated life experience often collide in midlife, creating a pressure cooker for change. Many women notice differences in sleep, energy, and priorities around this time. That physical and emotional reset makes reevaluating work, relationships, and daily routines feel urgent. Loss of a caregiving role, dissatisfaction with a long-term job, or simply a sense that there's more to life than what's been lived so far are frequent triggers. This is not failure. It's a biological and social nudge toward transformation. Feeling stuck is the problem most describe. Nights of restless thought, mornings that lack spark, and a calendar filled with other people's needs can erode a sense of agency. The solution often starts small. A single new hobby, a learning goal, or a commitment to health that becomes the first domino. For example, joining a local pottery class can open a social circle and rekindle creativity. Training for a short-distance race or a multi-week hiking challenge can improve sleep and energy, while proving that physical goals are still achievable. These are not grand reinventions overnight. They are deliberate experiments that rebuild confidence. Practical details matter. Begin by auditing where your time goes for 1 week. Track it honestly without judgment. Then pick one manageable goal, 2 45-minute yoga sessions per week, a photography workshop on weekends, or a beginner's course at a community college. Structure helps. Schedule the activity in your calendar, arrange childcare or household swaps if needed, and set a realistic timeline. 6 to 8 weeks is often long enough to feel different. Join a local meetup or online group aligned with your interest. Peer support increases adherence and expands social networks. Consider small investments that pay off. A decent pair of running shoes, a quality set of paints, or a short subscription to an online class can remove friction and make practice pleasurable. Integration into everyday life is the real work. Blend new habits into routines you already have. Practice drawings during a lunch break, use walk and talk calls for social connection, or turn Sunday evenings into planning time. Keep expectations flexible. Progress is rarely linear. Celebrate small wins, a completed painting, a week of consistent workouts, or a new friendship, and use them as fuel. If career change is part of the transformation, test before you leap. Freelance on weekends, volunteer in a desired field, or take a certificate course to gain practical skills and contacts without upending your income immediately. Real-life stories show how this unfolds. One woman shifted from years of being a primary caregiver to launching a freelance consulting side project by carving 2 focused evenings a week for skill building and networking. Another took up swimming in a local master's program, which improved her sleep and connected her with a group of peers who became travel companions. Both began with tiny specific steps and scaled up as confidence grew. You can do the same. Decide on one action for this week. Book a class, block 2 sessions on your calendar, or reach out to a local group and treat it as an experiment rather than a permanent commitment. Take that step now. Small choices add up to a transformed life. If you've ever felt like life on autopilot, tired mornings, the same evenings, wondering if this is all, you're not alone. That feeling of being stuck is the problem, but the answer is simpler than you think. Deliberately choose small joys and clear, bite-sized goals that light you up. We looked at why midlife often feels like a crossroads, and the solution is a midlife reset built from new hobbies, realistic goals, and tiny daily rituals. Quick recap. Pick one curiosity, make a tiny habit, 10 minutes or 1 class a week, set a short-term goal, 30 days or 1 small performance, and connect with others for accountability and fun. Want concrete ideas? Try a weekend pottery class like Maria, 51, who says shaping clay gave her a different kind of calm. Start a 15-minute walk and podcast ritual like Laura, 47, who used it to learn Spanish, or plant a small balcony herb garden like Priya, 56, and discovered she loved cooking again. These are simple, repeatable, and worth your time. Now fit it into life, schedule it like an appointment, pair it with something you already do, coffee and journaling, and celebrate tiny wins. Use a calendar, a friend text check-in, or a habit tracker. The key is consistency over perfection. Tiny actions add up, and they rebuild energy, confidence, and purpose. If this resonated, tell me one small hobby you'd try in the comments and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next videos, coming soon. A 30-day rediscovery challenge, step-by-step plans for 3 popular hobbies, and interviews with women who restarted their lives after 45. First, I'll also share a free 1-page checklist to help you pick your first hobby. Download link in the description. You've already taken the hardest step by pausing and thinking about change. Be gentle, be curious, and give yourself permission to try. You deserve this reset, and first, can't wait to see what you try next.